Australia's history is rich and diverse, stretching back over 60,000 years, long before European settlers arrived. The land was first inhabited by the indigenous peoples, who came to Australia via Southeast Asia. These groups, known as Aboriginal Australians and Torres Strait Islanders, lived in harmony with the land, developing unique cultures and traditions that vary across regions. The first recorded European contact with Australia occurred in 1606, when Dutch explorer Willem Janszoon landed on the western coast. Over the next century, several Dutch and Portuguese navigators explored Australia's coasts, but no permanent settlement was established. It wasn't until 1770 that British explorer Captain James Cook sailed along the eastern coast and claimed it for Britain, naming it New South Wales. In 1788, Britain established its first penal colony at Port Jackson, modern-day Sydney, with the arrival of the First Fleet, which carried 1,500 convicts, marines, and officers. The British saw Australia as a solution to overcrowded prisons. The colony expanded, and soon free settlers arrived, contributing to the growth of towns and industries. As the 19th century progressed, Australia's population grew, and so did its economic development. Gold was discovered in the 1850s, sparking a gold rush that attracted thousands of migrants from around the world, especially from Europe and China. This period brought significant wealth and further settlement to Australia. During the 1850s, the colonies began to evolve politically. The push for self-governance led to the establishment of the Australian Constitution, which unified the colonies into one nation. On January 1, 1901, the Commonwealth of Australia was officially formed, with 6 states: New South Wales, Queensland, Tasmania, Victoria, South Australia, and Western Australia. Australia fought in both World War I and World War II, showing great loyalty to the British Empire. The horrors of war significantly impacted Australian society. After World War II, Australia saw an influx of immigrants from Europe, boosting its population and economy. The country's identity slowly shifted from being closely tied to Britain to becoming more independent. In the 1960s and 1970s, Australia began to recognize the rights of its indigenous peoples. Landmark events like the 1967 referendum, which allowed Aboriginal Australians to be counted in the census, marked a significant turning point. Over time, the government has taken steps to reconcile with indigenous communities, though challenges remain. The late 20th century saw Australia become a more multicultural society, with immigrants from Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. Politically, Australia remained a constitutional monarchy with the British monarch as the head of state. However, the question of whether Australia should become a republic resurfaced several times, with the 1999 referendum ultimately rejecting the move.